Some stories are told to entertain, others are told as warnings. Long before highways crossed the Appalachian Mountains, and before tourists came searching for scenic overlooks, these mountains were home to generations of people whose stories were passed from parent to child around campfires, front porches, and kitchen tables. Some warned children not to wander too far into the woods. Others reminded travelers that not every sound in the forest should be answered. And some spoke of strange lights, unexplained figures, and mysteries that continue to spark questions today. For generations, these stories have remained an important part of Appalachian culture. Whether you see them as history, folklore, spiritual experiences, cautionary tallies, or something else entirely, they've endured because people believed they were worth remembering. Tonight, we're exploring the dark history behind Appalachian folklore. Before we can understand the stories themselves, we first must understand the place they came from. The Appalachian Mountains stretch for more than 1,500 miles across the eastern United States, reaching from parts of the Northeast through the Southeast. They're considered one of the oldest mountain ranges on Earth, shaped over hundreds of millions of years by forces that existed long before humans ever walked these forests. Before European settlers arrived, indigenous peoples lived throughout these mountains, each with their own languages, traditions, histories, and relationships with the land. Their knowledge was preserved through oral tradition, with stories passed from one generation to the next. Centuries later, immigrants from places like Scotland, Ireland, England, and Germany settled throughout the region, bringing their own beliefs, customs, and stories with them. Over time, Appalachia became home to many different communities. Some traditions remained unique to individual families or cultures, while others spread from neighbor to neighbor, changing as they were retold across generations. The mountains themselves also help preserve these stories. Before modern roads, traveling from one valley to another wasn't always easy. Some communities remained relatively isolated, allowing local traditions to be passed down within families for generations. Storytelling became more than entertainment. It became a way to preserve history, to teach lessons, to warn others about dangers that might lie ahead, to explain experiences that were difficult to understand, and sometimes, simply to remind people that the mountains still held mysteries. Even today, many of these stories continue to be shared, not because everyone agrees on exactly what they mean, but because they remain an important part of Appalachian culture and identity. And among the many stories that have endured through the generations, one warning seems to appear again and again: never whistle after dark. Across Appalachia, there are countless stories that have been passed from one generation to the next. Some are long, detailed accounts told over the course of an evening. Others can be spoken in a single sentence. Sometimes, the shortest warnings are the ones people remember the longest. If you spend enough time listening to Appalachian stories, you'll eventually hear one piece of advice repeated again and again: never whistle after dark. It's a warning that has appeared in countless conversations, family stories, and online discussions about Appalachian folklore. But unlike many legends, there isn't one single version of where this warning came from. In fact, asking 10 different people about it might give you 10 different answers. Some say whistling at night can attract unwanted attention. Others believe it invites something to answer back. Some families simply treat it as a rule that should be followed without question. And for many people, the warning has become a tradition passed from one generation to the next, if no one remembers exactly when their family first began telling it. One of the most interesting things about this story is that it doesn't belong to a single explanation. Depending on who you ask, the meaning behind the warning can be very different. While many people associate this warning with Appalachia today, similar traditions can also be found in other parts of the world. Throughout history, many cultures have connected nighttime with caution. Darkness, limited visibility, unfamiliar sounds were more difficult to identify, and traveling after sunset often carried greater risks than it does today. In some Appalachian families, the warning may simply have served as practical advice, encouraging children to avoid drawing attention to themselves after dark, especially in remote areas where wildlife or unfamiliar people could be nearby. Other families understand the tradition differently, connecting it to long-held spiritual beliefs or experiences that have been shared across generations. Rather than assuming there's one correct explanation, it's important to recognize that this warning has taken on different meanings for different people. Even today, you'll find countless people who refuse to whistle outside after sunset. Some do it because that's how they were raised. Others have had experiences they believe reinforce the warning. Some simply prefer not to take the chance. Whether viewed as practical advice, family tradition, or something more mysterious, the warning has endured for generations, and that endurance may be just as remarkable as the story itself. While some Appalachian traditions are shared across many communities, others remain tied to a specific place, specific people, or a single enduring mystery. Throughout history, nearly every region has its mysteries. Some disappear as new evidence is discovered. Others remain unanswered generation after generation. Among the oldest mysteries connected to Appalachia is the story of the Moon-Eyed People. Unlike many Appalachian legends, this story isn't about a creature hiding in the woods or something waiting in the darkness. Instead, it asks a very different question. Who were the Moon-Eyed People? One of the earliest written accounts comes from the early 19th century, when American ethnography and physician Benjamin Smith Barton recorded a tradition describing a people said to have lived in parts of the southern Appalachian region before the Cherokee. According to the account he recorded, these people were described as having pale skin and being unable to see well during daylight, leading to the name Moon-Eyed People. Barton wasn't claiming he had witnessed these people himself. He was documenting a tradition that had been shared with him, a distinction that's important to remember whenever we read historical sources like these. Over the years, the story has grown, and with it, so have theories. One of the most popular claims suggests the Moon-Eyed People were descendants of Welsh explorers who reached North America centuries before Christopher Columbus. Others have proposed they may have been an isolated community whose history was gradually transformed into legend. Still others believe the story belongs entirely within oral tradition, carrying cultural meaning rather than describing a specific historical group. To this day, no single explanation has been accepted by historians. It's important to recognize that the Moon-Eyed People's story is most associated with Cherokee oral tradition, like many oral traditions around the world. These stories were preserved through generations of storytelling rather than being written down when they were first told. Oral traditions are an important way communities preserve history, identity, values, and memory. At the same time, they often carry meanings that can't always be fully understood by reading a written summary centuries later. That's one reason historians, anthropologists, and members of the Cherokee community don't always interpret these stories in the same way. One reason the mystery continues today is because of a stone structure near the town of Fort Mountain in northern Georgia. Stretching for hundreds of feet along the mountaintop is an ancient stone wall whose original purpose remains uncertain. Over the years, some people have suggested it may be connected to the Moon-Eyed People. Others believe it was built by indigenous peoples for entirely different reasons, such as marking territory, defense, or ceremonial use. Currently, archaeologists haven't found evidence that conclusively links the wall to the Moon-Eyed People tradition. Even so, the mystery has become part of the story itself. Perhaps that's why the Moon-Eyed People continue to capture people's imagination. Unlike many legends that try to answer a question, this one begins with one. Every generation has looked at the same story and asked, who were they? Were they a real community whose history slowly faded into legend? Was the story intended to preserve a memory whose full meaning has been lost over time? Or does the mystery itself explain why the legend has survived for so long? We may never know, but the questions have endured for centuries, and sometimes the questions are just as important as the answers. Not every Appalachian mystery takes the shape of a person. While some Appalachian stories have been passed down through generations of oral tradition, others are connected to something people still claim to witness today. High above the forests of western North Carolina, near Brown Mountain, small lights have been reported for well over a century. Witnesses have described glowing orbs drifting through the darkness, appearing without warning before fading back into the night. Some say the lights remain still. Others describe them moving silently through the valley. And despite decades of investigation, people continue to ask the same question: what are they? Unlike many legends, the Brown Mountain Lights aren't known because of a single story. They're known because people from many different backgrounds have claimed to see them. Residents, travelers, scientists, journalists, curious visitors hoping to experience the mystery for themselves. Reports of the lights became especially well known in the early 1900s, when newspaper articles described strange glowing lights appearing near Brown Mountain. As public interest grew, so did the number of people hoping to find an explanation. Over the years, several investigations have been conducted. Some researchers suggested the lights could be explained by distant train headlights, automobile traffic, campfires, atmospheric conditions, or unusual reflections caused by the landscape. Others argued that these explanations don't account for every reported sighting. More than a century later, there is still no single explanation that satisfies everyone. Long before newspapers began writing about the lights, stories connected to mysterious lights already existed among some indigenous communities of the region. Different traditions describe these lights in different ways, and it's important not to combine them with a single story. Like many oral traditions, they belong to the specific communities that have preserved them over generations. As settlers arrived and later generations shared their own experiences, new interpretations emerged alongside older traditions. Over time, history, personal experience, and folklore became intertwined, making it difficult to separate where one ends and another begins. Whether they are the result of natural conditions, something not yet fully understood, or something interpreted differently depending on who is watching, the mystery continues. And maybe that's exactly where its power lies. It reminds us that even in an age of satellites, smartphones, and instant communication, there are still places that encourage us to slow down, investigate the distance, and wonder. Some mysteries fade as knowledge grows. Others continue to shine, sometimes quite literally. As we've explored these stories, a pattern begins to emerge. Some are tied to specific places, others to specific families. Some continue to spark debate among historians. Others remain deeply personal to the communities that preserve them. But they all have one thing in common: they've survived. Which raises one final question. Why do some stories endure for centuries while others disappear? Thank you for joining me as we explored the dark history behind Appalachian folklore. Every story deserves to be told with care, curiosity, and respect. If there's a legend, tradition, or mystery you'd like us to explore next, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to continue this journey with you. If you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to learn more about the folklore, history, and traditions that have shaped communities around the world. Until next time, keep exploring.